All right, so now we're going to look at problem number 2 from the quiz review. So I'm being asked to factor completely. So what I want to do first is I want to try to figure out, is there a GCF, a greatest common factor, that I could divide out of each one of these three terms? So I take a look and I say, well, they don't all have an x, this one doesn't have an x, but they look all divisible by 3. So if I think, hey, what if I divide each of these three terms by 3? What I would have if I divided each of those terms by 3, I would be left with an x squared, a minus 5x, and a positive 6. However, if I divided by 3 to get here, to make sure that I end up with the same value, I have to make sure to multiply that 3 back in. Don't forget to do that. If you factor out a 3, make sure that you multiply it back in. Now, if we distributed 3 times x squared, 3 times negative 5x, 3 times 6, you end up with 3x squared minus 15x plus 18. All right, these are equivalent. All right, so this is equivalent to this. Now what I'm doing is I'm factoring out. I'm trying to factor out. I'm trying to factor this now. So I've got the 3 here, and I'm just trying to think, all right, what times what makes all this stuff? So since a is 1, my a is 1, I'm going to go ahead and just say, well, x times x makes x squared. And now I'm thinking, well, what times what makes a positive 6? Well, it could be a positive and a positive, or a negative and a negative. Since these are negative, I know it's going to be a negative number and a negative number. So I'm thinking, all right, what two numbers multiply to make 6 and add to make negative 5? 3 and a 2. All right, that is the factored form of this up here. Now, if you wanted to do it using the A, B, and C method, so if you wanted to, let's just go here. So if you weren't comfortable with that, the guess and check method, what you could do is you could identify A, B, and C. Say A is 1, there's 1x squared, B is negative 5, and C is 6. Go ahead and do your diamond. Up top goes A times C, 1 times 6. Bottom goes B, negative 5. What multiplies to make positive 6 and adds to make negative 5? Well, that's 2 negatives. One of them being 3, one of them being a 2. Since A is 1, you can go straight into your factors. Right? Negative 3 was one of our factors. It goes with that x in one of the factors here. Negative 2 is also one of them that comes from our diamond. That also goes in our other factor. If you didn't remember that, your next step would be to go and do the box here. Your x squared would go here. Your positive 6 would go here. Your negative 3x's could go there. And your negative 2x's could go there. So you'd pull out an x. You'd pull out an x from here. The greatest factor that divides out of both of those is an x. The greatest factor that divides out of both of these is x. X times x does make x squared. You could think, what is the term that you could pull out of both of these? Well, both of these are divisible by a negative 2. And do a little check. Does x times negative 2 make negative 2x? Heck yeah, it does. Good stuff. So what about these? What can I divide out of both of these? Well, they're both divisible by negative 3. And does negative 3 times x make negative 3x? Yep. Does negative 3 times 2, negative 2, make 6? Yes, it does. These are our two factors, x minus 3 and x minus 2. All right, hope you enjoy this. Talk to you later.